Hi, so today I'm going to be painting the witch with the candelabra. So I figured I would do this witch, maybe a brunette. I did the last one blonde, so I figured I'll change this one up and paint her with brown hair. So I thought I'd change her a little bit and have her holding something different. So I think I'm going to do a series of these witches. I have another one that I'm working on where she's holding a jack-o'-lantern, and she has a little different hair and a different dress and slightly different hat. So I figured maybe I'd do like a little series of these. I thought they were kind of cute. So I'm going to go ahead and take her apart. So here's her little candelabra. There's like a little top layer, and then here's the next layer, and then the other one is welded to her arm, so that way it's all connected. So you can see that she just fits together like a puzzle. So I'm just going to go ahead and move this piece out of the way. And then we have her little hat, and there's her little florals on top. And I'll just move that up so you can see all the little florals. And I'm going to move that over here. Then there's this optional layer. You don't have to use this layer if you don't want to. If you'd rather have her look like this, you can have her look like that, and then you can put the hat back on if you don't want the hair to drape over the front. So that's what she would look like. And I obviously would put her arm back, but so that's what she would look like if you didn't want the hair draping down the front of her. So in order to have the hair drape over, we had to make that a separate layer. So she looks good either way. I like both versions. I thought that was kind of pretty. So I'm just gonna go ahead and move this out of the way. I'm just gonna move my brushes. I have a whole bunch of brushes that I just cleaned. And then we have like these little filler pieces here. I'm just gonna go ahead and take these all off. There are these little pieces that fill in for her hair, and those are there just to fill in the space. So you definitely want to make sure you don't lose any of those pieces. They're just there to fill in the space. So there's a little piece here and a little piece here. I think I dropped one when I was walking it over. So I'll have to find that other little piece. And then here's her other layer of her hair. So that's that just fills in there. And then we have her head, and that just fits together right there in her little scallop dress. So there's her little dress. And I'm going to take that off. And then this back piece, you don't have to do anything with. You don't paint that at all. So I'm just going to go ahead and move that out of the way. So these are just the pieces you're going to paint here. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Whew, it is an awfully hot day today. Already quite hot. We've been having a heat wave this last week. Usually don't get this hot this early in the season. Whew. So I think I'm going to go ahead and paint her dress. And I'm thinking I want to paint her dress maybe black. I was thinking maybe do like a dark purplish. But I think I'm going to go with black. Just because the other dress was black. Maybe I'll stick with all black for the dresses. Just for consistency. But I was thinking I would like to do, you could do like some type of really cool acrylic on her dress. I got some really cool acrylic from Craft Closet. Some pretty like shell veneers would look really pretty on her dress. I'm thinking I want to do that for some of the other ones that I make like locally. That would look really cool, but for the sake of the video, I want to paint these just for ease. But doing some really cool acrylics would be really neat for her dress, and even like the other pieces. If you want to do her hat in like a pretty purple, like some kind of neat acrylic, like any type of like an acrylic pour, like something with a neat design would look really cool on this. Just an example, just something to try out if you wanted to. Instead of always painting, you could try out using some different kinds of media. So I'm just going to go ahead and start painting her dress. It's just some black chalk paint. But for those who don't want to try other media, I'm just going to go ahead for the sake of the video and just paint it for you so you can see how it's painted. But I definitely want to use some of this amazing acrylic that I have from Craft Closet. It's gorgeous. There's one that I got that it's like It's almost like a snake skin. It's really amazing. I think that would look really cool on her dress. I might still go ahead and cut that out and stage that on here. It looks so pretty. All right. And so it's just black chalk paint. And I think I'm gonna dry brush over this just to give it some added dimension. I kind of wanted to go with more like kind of a mermaid style dress for her dress. When I was a little kid, I used to love making dresses. I used to love drawing dresses and pretend like I was a Barbie designer, like for my dolls. I'm like, I want to design dresses for my dolls. So I wanted to make a pretty dress for my witch. All right, here we are. Here we go. And it's just any black chalk paint will do. This one is Vintage Market paint in the shade of Raven. But you can also use folk art chalk paint from your craft store. I mean, really any black chalk paint will do. But I wanted to try a new brand. I like to try out new brands all the time. So this one is pretty nice. I like this color, Raven. I love that color, that name. All right. So here's her dress, easy peasy. And I'm gonna also paint her hat while I still have my black paint out. There we are. I have so much fun drawing all these. It's just a lot of fun. All right. There we go. I'll have to find that other little piece. I must have dropped it when I was picking it up. I was carrying it over from the laser. There we are. So just make sure you don't throw those little pieces out that are those little filler pieces for her hair. Just make sure you, otherwise you'll have some little gaps when you go to glue it. I mean, I don't think you'll really notice it too much, but they're just definitely there for your, you know, just a kind of a placement piece. All right, so there's her hat. Kind of wiping off my brush. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna leave my black brush over here. I'm gonna save that for later, just in case I want to dry brush anything with the black. So I'm gonna let this dry. I'll take these pieces and set them over here to dry. And now we have our other pieces. We have like her skin. So these are our skin pieces, like for her arms and her face and her chest. And for that color, I am going to use, this one is Milk Jug. And that's from, this is Folk Art. I'm just gonna go ahead and paint that. Grab a new brush. And I just like to grab it from the cap. All right, I'm just gonna get started here. If you wanted to paint any eyes or mouth or anything on this, you can. I just choose to leave the face blank. And it's really up to you how you want to finish this. I just feel like it's just more interesting if you want to. I'll leave it up to you guys how you want to finish the face. I just prefer not to have a face on it. I think it leaves it up to the mystery of this whole lady. All right. Kind of like that whole folk art style where they don't have faces. All right, I'm gonna let that dry for a second because this is definitely gonna need another coat. There we are. And I'm gonna come over here and paint her arm. And these are not interchangeable pieces with the other witch. They are different, just so you know. So don't think if you lose a piece to this one, you can just interchange. They don't fit. I redrew this one. So this one is from scratch, so they are not going to fit together. I mean, they're not totally from scratch, but I mean, they're not going to fit. I redid it. So I didn't use the same template. So they are slightly different. So you're only going to paint just the skin part, the parts that are going to show, like her arm here. And then you're going to paint like there's her hand where she's holding the candelabra. This is all you're going to paint here. Doesn't have to be perfect because the pieces are going to glue over the top. There we are. There we go. So there we have that. And I'm going to have to do another coat. So this paint does require a second coat. It's not the, I mean, it feels thick, but it just doesn't seem to cover in one coat very well. There we are. And I just cut this from MDF like I usually do. I just feel like it's the easiest for me to cut with. So you can cut this from birch. Just make sure that you're using like the really good birch, because I feel like I bought some really bad birch over the years, and I've gotten some really bad glue spots, and then it didn't cut all the way through, and then I got frustrated. And that was back when I first started lasering. I bought from like random places, and I kept trying to cut, and it just wouldn't cut all the way through. I had all these spots that just didn't cut. And I learned my lesson to always buy the good birch. So I was trying to save money at the time, because after buying a laser, you're kind of on a budget, and you don't want to spend too much money on materials. So I get it, but quality birch is definitely notice it. Okay, but I like MDF. I feel like it's a good price, and I feel like it's decent quality. I know it does kind of gunk up your laser a little bit. You just have to clean your laser more often. I just cleaned mine again. I feel like I clean mine a lot now. It does get a little gunky, a little sticky. There we go. So I'm just doing my second coat on her arm. And I'm using this really light color. It's not exactly white, it's more like an ivory, but I don't want her to be like tan, because witches, I just don't feel like witches are tan. Like I feel like they're kind of ghostly, and they're kind of almost like ethereal, like a white, like very pale. So I'm trying to go with a really pale like color for her. I don't know. I've never really seen a witch, but I mean, like, just on, I guess, movies and stuff. We could have painted her green, I guess, too. That would have been an option. But I'm just trying to stick with the consistency of the last one I did. So here we are. And I feel like that's pretty good. I do want to go back over this one just one more time. I just feel like this paint is just not covering as well as I wanted it to. I might find a different brand for like another one that's similar in this color, because I feel like this one's taken too many coats. And I don't want to have brush strokes on her face, because that's the spot you're going to notice the most. There we go. There we are. So I'm going to let those dry. There we go. Set those over here to dry. There we go. And then for her hair, I'm only going to do just this part here, and then I'm going to just do like the pieces that are going to be showing through like these areas here. So I'm just going to kind of put it in through here. Okay, so I'm thinking for that color, I want to do, I think I'm going to do this chocolate. I think maybe a chocolate brown for her hair. So for the underneath part, get some goopers. I think for the underneath part, I want to do like a dark brown so it shows through. So I'm going to do that one first. So first I'm gonna do that. Get some stuff flakes up pretty good. So I'm only just gonna do this part here because this is the part that's gonna show through. There we go. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. All right, and then I'm just gonna wipe my brush off. And I'm done with that dark brown because that's the part, if you noticed, that's going to show. See those pieces there? They're gonna show through. Oh, this brown is getting gunked up when you put the cap back on. I'm going to clean my paints pretty soon. And then I have this pretty chocolate brown for her hair, the rest of her hair. So you're only gonna see just the one side of her hair. I'm gonna lose that piece, I just know it. It's a nice, pretty brunette. I didn't want to go too dark on her hair because her dress is black, and you don't want her hair to get lost, you know, in her dress. I want it to really show. So that's why I went with the lighter brown. Okay, so that's all you have to do for that one. And then I'm gonna do this layer here. And if you want to add like some highlights, you can dry brush over her hair to give her like maybe put some yellow, put some gold or something in her hair with like some dry brushing. Maybe we'll try that, see how that looks. Here we go. Okay, that's a pretty brown. All right, so that's all you have to do for that piece. So it's nice you don't have to paint the entire thing for these. All right, so we're just moving right along. And for the next part, we're gonna paint the candelabra. We have these two pieces here. You don't have to paint this part here because we're gonna be overlapping. And I'm just going to be painting just the candles. So I have a pretty shade of red for that. I wanna do like a nice burgundy kind of color. So I have this pretty red, like a nice burgundy. So that'd be kind of neat for the candles. And I'm gonna grab another brush. Now I do want to make sure that I paint just the little flames, like maybe a yellow. So I have a little brush just to do the little flames at the top. So make sure you don't paint those. You're only gonna paint just this part here. Okay, that's all you're gonna do. So you're just gonna paint just this top part. Okay, and the rest is gonna be your flames. Here we are. Be a pretty spooky red. That'd be nice. Okay, kind of like a wine color. All right, that's all you have to do for that. For now, I'm gonna go get this color. I'm gonna put this one away, and I'm going to get my yellow for the flames. So I have my yellow. I'm just letting that dry for a second so I don't mix the colors. Okay, I'm just gonna dip that in there, and I'm just gonna paint. I'm gonna move this so you can see it so my hand doesn't block it. I'm just gonna go here and I'm just gonna paint those little flames. There we are. Easy peasy. There you go. that's it. We get our little candelabra, and I'm gonna put that over here to dry. All right, wipe that extra paint off. All right. And now this one, I'm going to, actually I'm gonna keep this yellow out because I'm going to use that again. I'll set that over here. I'm going to use like a nice pretty gray to make it look kind of like a silvery, like a, kind of like a, I don't know, spooky candelabra. You could also do this, and you could cut this from like maybe a mirrored acrylic or some type of acrylic you want to use. You can do this in anything you want, maybe even glitter, color board, whatever you'd like to cut this with. But I'm just going to paint it for the video's sake, but you can really cut this from whatever material you want to cut this from to make it look more realistic. All right, so I have my gray. I'm just going to go grab my gray here. And this is just French linen, that's the shade. I'm gonna go ahead, paint that. Oops, there we go. And grab another brush. I'm gonna put this up here. There we are. I think I took too much paint. I'm just gonna tap off some of that paint so I don't have too much. There we go. Here's our gray. And I can also dry brush over this too. Just kind of antique it. I can also use my art crayon to like add a little bit of black around the edges. There's a lot of detail in this, so you can do a lot of cool things with this. I had a lot of fun drawing this one too. All right. Okay. Here we go. Just a little bit more. Okay, and this one covered really well in one coat. So, all right. Good deal. There it is. So there's our candelabra. Just zoom in so you can see that. There we are. That came out really nice. So while I have that out, I might grab my other brush that still had the black paint on it, and I can dry brush that a little bit. That's why I keep my brush out with the black paint. And I can kind of just take that and just kind of rub that along the edges and kind of just distress it a little bit and try to get some of the cool features. There we go. And just kind of rub that along the sides. There we are. Now it looks really antiqued. Look at that. Like it's real old. It's been hanging around a haunted house a long time. Look at that. Here we go. There. There's our candelabra. Here we go. I like that. That looks really fun. Okay, so that's that piece. And then that's going to layer right over the top of this. Very fun. So there's our fun candelabra that she's going to be holding. And if you wanted to even dry brush the candles too, but I think I like the candles the way they are. So there's that. Really fun. All right, cool. Okay, so we are almost done. We just have to do her florals of her hat and put it together. This is a really short one. This one really doesn't take that long to paint. So easy peasy. I'm just gonna grab my green paint, and I have I'm gonna use Weeping Willow. That's a nice kind of a sage green. They sell sage green from Folk Art, and it's a very similar shade to this. So that's an option if you don't want to use this brand. I'm just giving you some other options that we have, I'm gonna grab a small brush in my little small brush collection over here. And I'm just gonna grab this here, and I'm gonna save these berries and use those as a different color. And then I have, I'm gonna use probably maybe an orangey color. Just gonna try to get all that. There we are. So we got our green. Okay. And you know what? I think I'm gonna do the other side in the same color. Why not? I can always dry brush one side and leave the other, make it look like it's totally different. There we go. Okay, so there's that, and then I can come back and use my black, but this is going to be showing on, remember, don't put too much because this is going to be going over the black part, so you don't want it, you want that contrast. So I'm going to grab just a hair more. That's why I'm using a lighter shade. So I'm just going to put it right in the middle. There we go. Because that is going to be showing over the hat. You want that really to show. Okay, so for the berries, I have an orange color. And I'm going to grab that orange. Here it is. And I thought this would be a nice, it's kind of like a pumpkin orange. And I thought that would look really nice. There we go. And I'm going to use a little bit of the yellow for the middle of the flower. So I'm going to just put my green paint away. I'll have to put the caps on right afterwards so I don't dry any of my paints out. Okay, so I have that brush that I used earlier for that use for the yellow. I'm just going to use it for the orange. And I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of tap those little berries with this brush. Just kind of tap it on. And just make sure you're using a small brush because you don't want to get the paint on your leaves that you just painted. So there's that. Make sure you don't get all the paint in between those little crevices. Make sure you get it all out. There we are. And this is a nice fall color. I like this pumpkin-y orange color. Sometimes I do them in red, but I really want them to pop on her hat. I don't want them too dark, because the hat's black and you really want things to pop. So there we are. Okay, so there's our little berries. And I might even just grab a little bit of that yellow and just kind of put a little pop of color throughout here and just kind of tap it through. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just tap it through. Just give it like a little highlight. There we go. There. Happy with that. While I still have that color out, I'm going to just go ahead and paint that middle of the flower. This is hard to do. I'm going to hold it so you can see it. These are small, so those little small pieces I'm just going to go ahead and grab. There we are. I really like making these witches. This is like my new favorite thing to do. There's our little flower, little piece of the middle. I gotta get that last little guy there. All right, there we are. Hope you guys are enjoying these witches as much as I am. I think these are so much fun to make. And our last little flower, I'm gonna grab, I think I'm gonna do this one. I always pick the blue. I always go with blue. I love blue flowers. I'm going with a turquoise, like a teal. But I am going to add another color to the middle. So I have my teal paint here, and I'm going to just grab a little bit, and I'm just gonna paint that right on. This is called Peacock, but like any teal paint, any teal chalk paint will do. There we are, all done. And I'm gonna go and grab some of that like kind of like a periwinkle, just to like bring some of the color out, because it is very similar to the leaves, and I don't want them to like blend in too much. So I have my little periwinkle blue here, and I'm just gonna go in here and just kind of blend those two colors. So I'm just gonna wipe that blue paint off a little bit, grab a little bit, and then I'm just gonna kind of blend it out. And just, there it is, just a little bit. So, and then I'm just gonna, so just the tips are just kind of a little bit on the, with that teal. So kind of like, just looks like just the tips. There we are. So I think that looks really fun. So there's our florals. So I'm gonna let that dry for a second. I'm gonna get all the other pieces back now, and we'll assemble her. You know, before I put this away, I think I do want to add some dry brushing to her hair. I think that would be really fun. So while we have that yellow paint out, I'm gonna grab my paintbrush that I love to dry brush with. I love these kind of brushes, just to add like subtlety. I'm gonna make sure I really add just a little bit. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of rub this right over the top, just ever so lightly, because I don't want her to have blonde hair. Just a little bit. I don't want too much. Just enough to like give a little bit of highlight to those little pieces. And making sure I get those edges. Getting those edges. So that's all there is. So just a little bit. And you have to do the same thing to the other side, because this is the other side that's gonna show. There we go. Maybe she has just a little bit of a highlight in her hair. So there we have that, and this piece is gonna go right over the top. So we have her pretty brown hair. There we go. All right. Okay. So there's a little bit of dry brushing. And while I have my other colors out, I do want to dry brush her dress too. So let's just move this out of the way. And I want to dry brush her hat, just so I can show you, like, we're going to add a little bit of dimension to that. So it's not just like a flat black. Maybe she has some kind of sheen to her dress. So I'm going to add, maybe I'm going to go a little fun and add maybe a little bit of color. Like maybe I'm going to add this color here. This is called, let me see, Blue Radiance. That's from Chalk, the Folk Art chalk paint. So I'm going to shake it up quick. It's almost the same as the center of the flower I just did. So I'm just going to do this ever so lightly. Oh, spider. Little spider came to see me. I'm out in my garage, so occasionally you will see bugs out here. But it's too nice to be inside. Okay. So I'm just gonna kind of dry brush that color right along her dress. A little bit more. I don't want to take too much at first. So I'm just gonna go ahead and dry brush that color on her dress. And I can zoom in so you can see it a little better. Move it down so you can see. And I'm just moving from the sides towards the middle of the dress. Just getting those edges. Okay. I'm gonna do the same thing with her hat too. Just kind of gently brushing it right across now. There we go. Getting those edges. Just don't want to take too much paint. If you do, you can always just go back over it with your black paint. That's why I always put paper towel down when I'm working, because you can use that to just tap off if you take too much paint. There we go. We add a little bit of color to her dress. Not too much where it doesn't look black anymore, but just a hair. There we go. It adds a little bit of something. I didn't add any designs to her dress because I feel like the scalloped top to her dress was enough. The other witch I added some flourishes to it, but I feel like this one didn't need it. But if you want to, if you have the other file, you can use those same flourishes and put them on here if you wanted to keep the consistency. But I didn't think it needed it. I like her dress the way it is. All right, so there's her dress. And you can see that little bit of purple showing. It's just ever so slightly, just a little bit. Because now it doesn't look so flat black. There we go. Almost looks like you sanded it when you do that, dry brushing. So there's her dress. I'm gonna just set that over here. We're gonna do the same thing again with the hat. Just ever so lightly so that her hat matches her dress. Here we go. Just enough. Okay. Alrighty, I think we're done with that, and we're gonna bring her back. So here is our witch. I'm gonna zoom back out so you can see. There we go. I'm gonna move my paints out of the way so I can move her all the way up. Move my little florals. There we go. So here she is. And here's her little dress. Here's her hat. I'm just gonna set my paintbrushes down. There's really no place left. No more space. Need a bigger table. All right, so we have all of her little pieces. We're gonna put her back together. Here's her neck and her head. And we have her arm. There's her arm. And that's what these little filler pieces are here. That's what these pieces are for. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter if you save them, but I just like to keep them just in case, just so that they fill in those spaces. I can't do it with these nails. I'm just gonna move this. So that's what these pieces are for. They fill those spaces in. And there's another piece there, but I dropped it over when I was carrying it. It's probably on the floor over there. So there's another piece there that fits. So when I find it, I'm going to put it on. So there's that. And then we have her arm. Didn't realize I dropped it. Okay, so there's her arm and her little candelabra, and that will fit on here. We have to get her hair. Here's her hair. Let me set this one down so I have two hands. So that will fit right here. Fits just like a puzzle. And then you're gonna take this piece, put it right over the top. Remember, you don't have to use this piece if you don't want to. That's really up to you. So you're not really gonna see those filler pieces, but they're just there as placeholders. So they're just there. So there's her arm, and it fits right up against there. And then we have her hat. And we have her little florals. If I could line it up right. There we go. And there's her florals. And her little piece that goes in the middle. There we go. There. And Sorry if I'm not lining this up perfectly. I'm on an angle, so if it's not lined up, I apologize, but there we go. And then we have her candelabra as our last little piece. And there she is. This one really doesn't take long at all to paint. Really easy peasy for this one. There we go. And you're just gonna line all those pieces up. There she is. So easy peasy, she's a lot of fun. I'm really happy with her. She came out really nice. And then the next one is going to be the one, she has different hair, and she's gonna be holding a pumpkin, a jack-o'-lantern, and then she's got a slightly different dress and hat and everything. So I hope you enjoy these. I've been having a lot of fun making these witches. So, all right, well, thanks a lot for joining, and I hope that you have a happy rest of your weekend and happy spooky season. Thanks a lot. Bye.